Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my students? I hope that you're happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which is Unit 4 Grammar. So you have to pay attention today. Unit 4 Grammar. If you remember our previous lesson, the pair work, I asked you with your partner to design a new Olympic flag. What will each color or symbol represent? Draw your flag and explain it to your classmates. So I asked you to come up with a new idea for a new logo or a new flag for the Olympics. Other than this one, you can use any method, any explaining that you want. And we also took the cultural note here, the indigenous people of pre-Columbian North and South America. We learned that some of the sports that we know today originated many years, but it was developed and changed throughout the years to the version that we see today. And we learned some fun facts about the marathon, how it changed its length because of the royal family. They wanted the end to be in front of their current place. So these are today's objectives. Use gerunds as subjects. If you remember, previously we took gerunds as objects. Now we're taking them as subjects. Write sentences with superlative and the present perfect. Form a law with grounds. Form questions with superlative present perfect. Remember, a gerund is the ing form of a verb used as a noun. You have to remember this. What is a gerund? It's a gerund is the ing form of the verb going, sleeping, and so on, but it's used as a noun. We studied gerunds used as objects before, answering the question what. If you remember in the previous unit, we studied gerunds used as objects, which answer the question what. After certain verbs, in this unit, we will study the gerunds used as subjects. So previously, as I mentioned, we studied gerunds as object, which answer the question what. But today, we'll be studying gerunds as subjects. A gerund phrase, so you have to remember this, we have something that is called a gerund phrase. A gerund phrase is a gerund used with other words. Two examples are watching sports and getting in shape. So this is a gerund phrase. A gerund phrase is a gerund used with another word or with other words. For example, watching sports or getting in shape. So gerunds as subjects. A gerund or a gerund phrase can be the subject of a sentence. A gerund or a gerund phrase here, a gerund or a gerund phrase can be the subject of a sentence. For example, swimming, you can notice here the ing, this is a gerund. Swimming uses more muscles of the body than almost any other form of exercise. Swimming, so this is a subject here, which is also a gerund. So this is a noun here. Swimming uses more muscles of the body than almost any other form of exercise. Watching sports, also this is a gerund as a subject. This is a gerund phrase actually. Watching sports, because we have two words here. Watching sports isn't nearly as fun as playing them. Of course, we all know that. Watching sports isn't as much fun as playing the actual sport. So watching sports here, this is a gerund phrase. The next part here, make a gerund or a gerund phrase negative by putting not before it. So how do we make a gerund or a gerund phrase negative? We just put the word not before it. Let's see here. Not exercising is a sure way to gain weight. Not warming up before you exercise can lead to injuries. So if you want to make the gerund negative, just add the word not before the gerund or the gerund phrase. Again, not exercising is a sure way to gain weight. Not warming up before you exercise can lead to injuries. Not studying before the exams can lead to maybe failure of these exams. Note that a gerund subject takes a singular verb. Again, note that a gerund subject takes a singular verb. Getting in shape takes time and effort. Getting in shape takes, so this is a singular verb. Getting in shape takes time and effort. So this is gerunds as subject. Find examples of gerunds as subjects on pages 44 and 45. In the first lesson, the listen and discuss, find some examples of gerunds or maybe gerund phrases in these pages. For example, in this page, can you find me a gerund as a subject or maybe a gerund phrase? Okay, let's try to find them together. For example, here, giving medals to winners. Giving medals to winners is a practice that began in 1896. So this is a gerund phrase. Giving medals to winners. So this is the first one. Can you find me another one also here in this page? So, for example, here, lighting the Olympic torch. Lighting the Olympic torch does not involve a match. Lighting the Olympic torch does not involve a match. What about this page here? Can you find me a gerund as a subject? This page here. So, for example, running through the mountains and rocky lands was extremely difficult. Running through the mountains, so this is noun here. Running through the mountains and rocky land was extremely difficult. Also here, dropping sports from the Olympics is not uncommon. Dropping sports from the Olympics is not uncommon. So dropping here is a gerund as a subject. Also, adding a new event and softball. Adding a new event can only happen if another one is dropped. So adding here, of course, is a gerund as a subject. Adding a new event can only happen if another one is dropped. A language builder here. Another common use of gerunds in English is after prepositions. So there is a common use of gerunds in English which comes after the prepositions. For example, I learned to skate by watching. So you notice the preposition by and the gerund watching. Again, I learned to skate by watching my brothers and sisters. Again, some common use of gerunds in English comes after prepositions. I learned to skate by watching my brothers and sisters. Another one here, after practicing football, preposition after here, and the gerund is practicing. After practicing football, we went home for dinner. This is different from some languages where the infinitive form is used after a preposition. Jumping here to the superlative and present perfect, the superlative plus the present perfect. If you remember the superlative from previous lessons, the comparative and the superlative is the unique one from the group, the best or the worst, and so on. So today we're learning the superlative plus the present perfect. The present perfect can be used after the superlative. Again, the present perfect can be used after a superlative. We have two examples here. This is the most exciting sports event I have been to in a long time. So this is the most exciting sporting event I have been to in a long time. Or who is the best football player you've ever seen? This is a common question. Who is the best? So the best here is the superlative. Who is the best football player? And the present perfect you have ever seen. You can say this is the best sandwich I have ever eaten, for example. So this is the use of superlative plus the present perfect. This is the most exciting sporting event I have been to in a long time. Or use it in the question, who is the best football player you've ever seen? Complete the sentences with your own ideas. So you have sentences here. Complete them with your own ideas. The most exciting game I've ever seen is, so this is the superlative, the most exciting game. This is the superlative. And the present perfect is I've ever seen. So you can combine them together. So the most exciting game I've ever seen is maybe football, maybe the World Cup final, and so on. The most interesting film I've ever seen is, the most interesting film I've ever seen is, and you can name the movie that interests you the most. The best book I've ever read is, the funniest TV show I've ever watched is. So all of these, try to give your own opinion and share it with the class. Of course, all of these are superlative plus the present perfect. So exercise A here. Rewrite each sentence with a gerund or a gerund phrase as the subject. So we'll be rewriting each sentence as using a gerund or a gerund phrase as the subject. The first one is already done here. It is foolish to ride a motorcycle without a helmet. It is foolish to ride a motorcycle without a helmet. And we use the gerund here. Riding a motorcycle without a helmet is foolish. So we just have to rearrange the sentence and use the gerund as subject to get the correct form. Number one, it is easier to lose weight when you're physically active. Again, it is easier to lose weight when you're physically active. And the answer, you have to write something here and complete it with, is easier when you're physically active. So what's the correct gerund to write here? What's the correct word here? So let's see the answer here together. Losing weight. So it's losing weight is easier when you're physically active, and that's correct. Number two, the thing that stops many people from being physically active is not having enough time. So what stops people from being physically active is that they don't have enough time. Again, the thing that stops many people from being physically active is not having enough time. So the answer will be, you have to write a gerund here and then continue with stops many people from being physically active. Stops many people from being physically active. So what do we write here in number two? So what do we write here in number two? So the correct answer here is not having enough time. Not having. So we begin it with a negative. And if you want to make a gerund or a gerund phrase negative, just put the word not before it. Not having enough time stops many people from being physically active. Number three, it gives a runner a sense of satisfaction to complete a marathon. It gives a runner a sense of satisfaction to complete a marathon. And the answer, gives a runner a sense of satisfaction. So what gives a runner a sense of satisfaction? Using a gerund, of course. So let's see the correct answer here. Completing a marathon. So completing a marathon gives a runner a sense of satisfaction. Number four, it is difficult but thrilling to learn how to ski. It's difficult but thrilling to learn how to ski. So it's difficult but thrilling. So what is difficult but thrilling? What is difficult but thrilling? And use a gerund here. Yes, of course, it's learning to ski or learning how to ski. So learning to ski is difficult but thrilling, and gerund here is as a subject. Number five, the most important part of playing a sport isn't winning. The most important part of playing a sport is not winning. So the answer here of playing a sport of playing a sport. So how do we answer number 5 here? So let's check the correct answer here. Winning is not the most important part of playing a sport. Winning is not the most important part of playing a sport. Number 6, it is dangerous to scuba dive without proper training. Of course it is. It is dangerous to scuba dive, to go underwater, scuba diving, without proper training. So we have to continue here with is dangerous. So what is dangerous? So let's see the answer here together. Scuba diving without proper training is dangerous. Scuba diving, this is the gerund here, without proper training is dangerous. Number 7, it is not a good idea to swim after eating. To swim after eating is not a good idea. So, is not a good idea. How do we answer number 7? To swim after eating. So, the correct answer is swimming. Of course, we have to use gerunds here. Swimming after eating is not a good idea. Number 8, it is gratifying to see your body become trimmer and stronger. It is gratifying to see your body become trimmer and stronger. And the answer here is gratifying. So what is gratifying here? So let's see the answer. Seeing your body, so this is the gerund here, seeing your body become trimmer and stronger is gratifying. Number 9, it is exciting to attend a live sporting event. Of course, this is correct. It is exciting to attend a live sporting event. So, number 9, yes, that's correct. Attending a live sporting event is exciting. Attending a live sporting event is exciting. Number 10, it is disappointing not to get a chance to play for your team. It is disappointing not to get a chance to play for your team because you always want to play for your team. So, and the answer here is disappointing. So what is disappointing? Yes, that's correct. And remember the word not. Not getting a chance to play for your team is disappointing. Not getting a chance to play for your team is disappointing. Exercise B here, complete each sentence with a gerund or gerund phrase. The first one, watching a training video helps me to exercise. Of course, you can come up with any answer here, but it has to be using a gerund or a gerund phrase. So number 1 is a good idea. Is a good idea. What is a good idea? For example, I have written getting 8 hours of sleep at night is a good idea, especially of course when you're having exams, you have to be well rested. Getting 8 hours of sleep at night is a good idea. Number 2, gives me energy. So, what gives you energy? Maybe watching something, maybe doing something. For example, I have written exercising gives me energy. Of course, this is very obvious here. Exercising gives me energy. Number 3, takes a long time. Something that takes a long time. For example, here I have written reading a book takes a long time. Of course, this is true. And remember always to start with a gerund as a subject here. Reading a book. Number 4 is one way to make friends. So one way to make friends is joining a club. For example, joining a club, maybe a book club or anything here. Joining a club is one way to make friends. Number 5, makes me feel good about myself. So what makes you good about yourself? For example, you can say praying every day, praying 5 times a day makes me feel good about myself. Or for example, I've written doing well in school makes me feel good about myself. When you get the high grades, of course, that will make you feel good about yourself. And number 6 here is easy for some people but difficult for others. What is easy for some but difficult for others? For example, making new friends. Number 7 is something I try to avoid doing. What do you try to avoid? Many things. For example, buying things I don't need. Number 8 is a bit boring. What do you find boring? For example, watching TV, maybe late at night, is a bit boring if you watch TV all the time, of course. Number 9 is thrilling but dangerous. Thrilling but dangerous. For example, skydiving. Of course, it's very thrilling, but also it's dangerous. Number 10 is something I want to try someday. What is something that you've always wanted to try? For example, I have written mountain climbing is something that I want to try someday. Exercise C here, answer the questions with a partner. Use superlatives and present plus the present perfect. So you'll be answering all of these questions with your partner. What is the funniest joke you've ever heard? What is the bravest thing you've ever done? You say the bravest thing that I've ever done is something. Who is the most admirable person you've ever known? What is the most beautiful place you've ever visited? For example, you say the most beautiful place I've ever visited is Mecca or Switzerland, for example. What is the best film you've ever seen on TV? What is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? What is the greatest thing that's ever happened to you? So you answer all of these with your colleagues. Identify the sport each piece. Identify the sport each piece of equipment comes from page 47. You can see the pictures there. Then write a sentence about each sport using either a gerund phrase as a subject or the superlative plus the present perfect. For example, the first one, you can see the picture number 1 about the weight lifting. You can see the dumbbells, of course. What is the heaviest weight you have ever lifted? So this is the superlative plus the present perfect. Number 2, for example, very good, about the swimming. The coldest water I've ever swum in is the Pacific Ocean. What about number 3? Yes, excellent. The running, the shoes. Running every day is good for your heart. And number 4, for example, the bicycle. Riding a bicycle is the best way to get around town. Riding a bicycle, this is a gerund here. Also, skateboarding is the most difficult sport I've ever tried. This is a superlative plus the present perfect. Number 6, playing football with friends is a fun thing to do. Playing, gerund here, football with friends is a fun thing to do. And with that, we reach the end of this lesson. See you next time, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.